Three fake cops slapped my wife in broad daylight, and I swear in that moment something inside me just broke for good. Seeing Helen stumble backward into her rose bushes, clutching her face, eyes brimming with tears. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that marks you for life. These tactical wannabes strutting around in their clearance rack gear figured I was just some regular suburban husband who'd tuck his tail and fold when they flashed their fake badges. They had no idea who they were messing with, or that this little stunt was just the tip of a much nastier iceberg. Let me back up a sec. Trouble in my experience doesn't always knock. Sometimes it rolls up blasting death metal at 9 a.m. and makes every dog on the block lose its mind. That was the soundtrack to the morning everything changed. Helen was out in her front yard, humming away, pruning those roses she'd babied for years, you know, the kind that make the whole street look like amateur hour. Sun was shining, air was still the neighborhood humming with lawn mowers and sprinkler clicks, and you'd think life was just one endless commercial for Picket Fence America. But trouble's got a flair for drama. That's when the bass hit, deep chest rattling the windows and setting off car alarms half a mile away. A blacked-out SUV slid up to our curb, looking like it took a wrong turn from a music video set. Even Mrs. Miller, who rarely budges from her talk shows, shuffled onto her porch mouth, half open to see what on earth was going on. Three men hopped out, though calling them men is generous. They looked like someone's idea of a militia. Halloween all mismatched tactical vests and dollar store accessories. The ringleader, Mitch, let's call him, was this big dude with a gut that tested the limits of his body armor, bright orange airsoft sticker still plastered on his vest. His badge. A flimsy plastic shield security officer written in Comic Sans like a joke that didn't land. His partner kept fiddling with a utility belt full of zip ties, still in the packaging, mind you like. He thought he was starring in some cop show. The last one, a skinny kid with boots 3 sizes too big, shuffled nervously like he wanted to disappear. Helen sized them up with her nurse's eye. 15 years in the ER. Nothing phases her. She straightened dirt on her gloves and shot them a smile sharp enough to cut glass. Wow, did the HOA upgrade to SWAT? She said, voice just dripping with sarcasm. Or did Mrs. Henderson's flamingo finally pose a national security threat? That's Helen for you. She can torch you with a single look. Mitch puffed up, trying to look dangerous. Ma'am, we're here on official HOA business. Reports of unauthorized fence modifications and illegal floor display. Illegal floor display over roses. I mean, come on. You'd think we were growing cannabis out there, not roses you can buy at any garden center. Helen's eyebrows nearly shot off her face. She pointed at her roses, calm as can be. These are roses, gentlemen. Unless the HOA has suddenly decided flowers are a threat, I think I'm safe. Meanwhile, Mrs. Miller, God bless her, had her phone out, sly as a fox camera pointed at the circus on our lawn. The second guy piped up, "Ma'am, we're going to need you to step away from the flora so we can inspect." Helen laughed, and not the nice kind. "Let me get this straight," she said. "You roll up here like a paintball team on a bender blast, music loud enough to wake the dead. And now you want to inspect my roses?" She whipped out her phone, too. "Why don't you show me some real ID first?" That's when Mitch made his first big mistake. He leaned in all up in Helen's space, puffing out his chest. "Ma'am, you're interfering with an official investigation. I suggest you cooperate before this becomes a bigger problem." His BB gun sticker caught the sunlight, and I swear I almost laughed. But Helen didn't budge. She just held up her phone, recording her smile, practically daring them to keep digging. Right then, our front door creaked open. "Charles, myself, but let's keep it in." The story's voice stepped out, coffee mug in hand, still in my post-run gear. Not exactly an action hero, but years in the Navy teach you to read a scene before you speak. One look at Helen, one look at these idiots in costume, and I could see where this was headed. I set my mug down, slow and steady. "Gentlemen," I said, voice calm but firm. "Mind showing me your actual credentials?" The air changed, everyone could feel it. The three stooges scurried off after a few more threats, but Mrs. Miller leaned in, whispering through the fence. That woman's been plotting something big for months. Contractors in and out at night. Watch your backs." And sure enough, the next day, that black SUV came roaring back. This time they didn't bother with music. They meant business. Mitch tried again, chest out. "Ma'am, we're here with proper authority. Cooperate or we make this difficult." Helen, covered in garden dirt gloves on, looked at them like she'd seen worse at 3 a.m. in the ER. "Oh, please, show me this proper authority. Dying to see what you bought at Army Surplus this time." She started recording again. Little tip, real cops don't wear airsoft stickers. Mitch's face went red, but instead of backing off, he doubled down. "Ma'am, stop recording and step away, or we're placing you under citizen's arrest." Helen laughed so hard the neighbors heard it. "You're arresting me for gardening. Good luck with that." She gestured at her roses. "Officer, dollar store, this is called landscaping. Try it sometime." That was it for Mitch. He lunged forward, grabbed for Helen's phone, and in the tussle she fell backward into her roses, thorns scratching her arms. But Helen, tough as old boot leather, pulled herself up, blood on her arms, hair, wild dirt on her face, and the look she gave Mitch could have melted steel. "You just made the biggest mistake of your life," she whispered. That's when it happened. Mitch, out of control, slapped Helen. Not a little tap, a full open-handed slap that echoed across the yard. Time stopped. Helen caught herself on the mailbox, eyes huge, one hand to her face. And that's when Charles, had enough. I walked down the steps, voice quiet but deadly serious. "You just put your hands on my wife. In my yard. While pretending to be law enforcement." I stared him down. "Here's what's going to happen. You'll apologize. You'll pay for her roses. And you'll tell me who sent you." But Mitch, slow learner that he was, tried to threaten me back, reaching for his zip-tie cuffs. That's when all the training came rushing back. 1 second later, Mitch was face down on the lawn, arm twisted up. His buddy tried to grab me and ended up flying into the driveway. The skinny kid, he tripped over his own boots and did a face plant right in the flower bed. Sheriff's deputies arrived in time to collect the trio. Deputy Harper pulled me aside. "Son, someone's been calling in weird reports about you for weeks. Who's trying to set you up?" I didn't know then, but the answer was about to get ugly. The next morning, Helen stepped out to get the paper and found flyers stapled to every tree, taped to every mailbox, all screaming, "Violent veteran threatens neighborhood safety with my old Navy photo," plus a pile of made-up violations. Mailbox, too high, decorative rocks causing visual pollution, even children's chalk art fined for being over 4 hours old. Helen found herself shunned old friends now crossing the street, the corner store lady asking her to leave. Mrs. Miller finally broke ranks. "I saw it all," she whispered, phone footage in hand. "That Evans woman's been at this for months. Look at these fake violations. She's extorted $40,000 out of this neighborhood in 6 months." I started digging into HOA finances, and what did I find? Money funneled to a shell company, Premier Property Management, registered to Kimberly Evans herself. Every time I got close to real proof, passwords changed, files disappeared. We were being surveilled. The kicker, a manila envelope slid under our door, blueprints of our house marked with red X's, load-bearing walls, gas lines, the works. Threats got real fast. I set up cameras, mapped out every contractor visit, started tracking everyone tied to this scam. Even the city code inspector, Brad Morrison, was dirty, taking payoffs, handing out bogus citations, and blowing his cash at the racetrack. It wasn't until Randy, the nervous fake cop, showed up at our door desperate that things turned. His daughter's leukemia treatment was bankrupting him, so Kimberly paid him $200 to act tough. I offered to cover Emma's medical bills if he told the truth. We set the stage. Mrs. Miller collected evidence. Randy got ready to testify, and I posted just enough online to make Kimberly paranoid. She called an emergency HOA meeting, strutting in like a queen with her entourage ready for her big moment. The meeting exploded. Randy confessed, showing the room a photo of his sick daughter, reading out Kimberly's instructions and payments. Mrs. Miller projected the HOA's fake expenditures: $50,000 for a non-existent pool, $30,000 for security, all routed to Kimberly. I played audio. Kimberly instructing Randy, scheming with Morrison, plotting to make sure the Morgan situation gets resolved permanently. Kimberly lost it, screamed at the whole room, ranted about Soldier Boy, even admitted to helping Randy when his kid was dying. She was still ranting when Deputy Harper and 2 federal agents walked in and arrested her for fraud, extortion, and conspiracy. After that, it was like the sun came out. Morrison arrested, HOA dissolved, Mrs. Miller elected interim leader, Randy's daughter got help. At the neighborhood block party 6 months later, Helen's roses were in full bloom, kids ran wild, and for the first time in a year, the air felt clean. But as we clinked lemonade cups, a black sedan with tinted windows crawled by just slow enough to let us know some stories aren't over. So here's my question for you. If your whole world was targeted by power-hungry bullies, would you fight or walk away? Drop your thoughts. Below, tell me where you stand on justice, on standing your ground, on what makes a neighborhood worth fighting for. And if you want to see what happens when that black sedan comes back, stick around. This story's just getting started.